Hey guys, Mr. Yeast here. Have you ever wondered about the history of France? I'm sure that the history of France, I can assure you that the history of France is a well-documented history. I'm just gonna stop babbling on. The place we now know as France was known to the Romans as the Gaul region. Most Greek writers at the time wrote about three main linguistic groups in the Gaul region: the Gauls, the Antiquities, and the Belgi. I'm not sure if I said that right. The largest of which, the Gauls, were descendant of Celts, and spoke a language creatively named the Gaulish language. Over the course of the first millennium BC, the Greeks, Romans, and Carthaginians established colonies on the Mediterranean coast and offshore islands, one of which is known as Corsica, where a little 5'5" French man would be born. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Get it? Guillotine? Head ahead of myself. Later, over the course of the first millennium before Christ, Greek, Romans, and Carthaginians all had colonies in the area known as France, but only the coastal areas facing the Mediterranean Sea and the immediately adjacent area. Later, the Roman Republic, which, if you don't know, was Rome when they didn't have an emperor. They had two consuls, which I'll talk about in another video. The Romans later added the Gaul area to the empire. Gaul was subject to sudden barbarian attacks and migration, most importantly by Germanic Franks, which I believe is where we get the word French from. In the 2nd century, Roman legions led by the legend himself, Julius Caesar, led his legions to victory at the Gallic War. Sorry, I said Gallic wrong. The Gallic War, which lasted from 58 BC to 51 BC. In the later stages of the Roman Empire, Gaul was sorry, I accidentally repeated myself. Gauls. Preparing the Gauls for hundreds of years of subjugation as the province of Gallia Narbonensis, which in English translates to Gallia Narboni, which means a city in South France. Later, a Gallo-Roman culture came out, and Gauls was more and more integrated into the Roman Empire. Later in the Roman Empire's history, Gauls was subject to many attacks from Germanic barbarians, which, just like Spain after them, they left taken over by the Germanic barbarians, known as the Huns, which led to Germanic Franks. Later, the first Frankish king, Clovis I, in the 5th century, united the Gaulish area under one kingdom, preparing the conditions for Frankish control in the region for hundreds of years. And the highest extent of Frankish rule, it was led by the king named Charlemagne, and the kingdom of France came about after the death of Charlemagne, which he split his empire between his sons, Charles, Pippin, and Louis. Louis got the western area, and so he got the area that would later become France. And Louis was called by many names, with most common name the King of the Franks. Under the rule of the House of Capet, founded by Hugh carpet in Capet in 987. I'm telling you this because there was a succession crisis after the death of the last direct Cappian king in 1328, which led to the series of conflicts known as the Years' War between the House of Valois and the House of Plantagenet, fighting for a long time, and it is said it lasted 100 years. Okay, I think that's all I'm gonna talk about in this video now. I think I'm just gonna head out. See ya.